Good evening to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about Forest Conservation Amendment, an important editorial beyond any doubt. I have been telling you guys, any editorial related to environment, especially forests, that to Indian forests, very important. You may get as a passage in prelims or mains. You may get as a para jumble or close test either in prelims or mains. Listen very carefully. Try to acquire the contextual awareness. Besides the editorial analysis, today you're going to work on spot the errors, close test, idioms, words and meanings. Let us go to the editorial vocabulary. And today there are some important words and not a few, many words are there. What is the first one? How does it start? Though it is about forest, it starts with a negative expression. Greenwashing. We all know the word washing. You should wonder what is this greenwashing? Idiomatic expression. Behavior or activities that make people believe that a company is doing more to protect the environment than it really is. A company may project a particular image that it is doing a lot to the environment, but in reality, it is not doing to that extent. That means, in a way, they're trying to cheat the public. Then we use the term greenwashing. An important expression, do remember. Deliberate. It has got two different meanings. One meaning, deliberate, means intentional, deliberately, openly. But deliberate as a verb, another meaning. To think or talk seriously and carefully about something. The noun form, deliberations. That is an important word. Contentious. Already have got two idioms many a time. Bone of contention, apple of discord. Means what? Cause of dispute. From that you get the word contentious. Means part of speech adjective. Causing, involving or likely to cause disagreement and argument. Same meaning. Usurping, an important word we have got for the first time in the recent past. Part of speech verb, usurp verb. It is in the ing form. To take control of a position of power, especially without having the right to. You don't have the right to take the power, but you try to do that. Then we use the term usurping, an important word. Mantelpiece also we have got for the first time. It goes with everyday English, a structure of wood, marble, or stone above and around a fireplace. Fireplace does not go with Indian context, it goes with Western context. If you take the Western context, every house, invariably, the first room, the living room, you come across a fireplace. The broad frame, you can say wooden frame or metal or stone, that is called wood, marble, or stone. That is called mantelpiece. Incremental, we have got a few times. Part of speech verb. It could be increment, no, not a verb, adjective. In a series of amounts, not one time, series of amounts, incremental. Stagnant, an important word. Usually it goes with water. Stagnant water. Water got stagnated. But it may go with economy, development, growth. Not growing or developing. Orchard, an important word. Orchard means, part of speech noun, orchard means an area of land where fruit trees, but not orange trees or other citrus fruits, they all belong to the same family, citrus, are grown. Imagine there's a place, there fruit trees are grown. That place is called orchard, an important word. Homestead, we have got for the first time. Part of speech noun, a house and the surrounding area of land usually used as a farm. If you take an independent house and in front there is some space or back behind also, we use terms like front yard, backyard, and it is used as a farm. Then we use the term homestead. The key word here, used as a farm. Invoke, we have got so many times. It goes with religion. It also goes with law. In the context of the editorial related to law, as a part of speech, what does it mean? To use a law in order to achieve something, invoke a particular section, invoke a particular rule, invoke a particular law, means use that to achieve a particular objective. Strategic, it has got two meanings. First meaning, I'm sure you all know, strategy to achieve success. But in this context, the second meaning, part of speech adjective, used to provide military forces with an advantage. Strategic studies related to defense, it goes with defense, an important word. Statutory, another important word we have got for the first time. What does it mean, statutory? Adjective, decided or controlled by law. Where is this? Oh, excuse me. Statutory, decided or controlled by law. Homestead, gardening, green thumb, very good. Privileges, privileges, simple word, rights. But here, an advantage that only one person or group of people has because they have a particular position. Based on the position, based on the designation, they may have certain rights. Then we use the term privileges. Grooming has got many meanings. Typical meaning, well groomed means properly neat. It means neat, grooming, groom someone. It also goes with pets, especially if you take a dog, you groom the dog, you try to make the fur or hair straight. And grooming here, the practice of preparing or training someone for a particular purpose or activity. Goes with the forest, a different meaning altogether. A rigorous, an important word, though we have got twice or thrice. Part of speech adjective, extremely thorough and careful. A rigorous, an important word. So these are the words. Let us go to the editorial. How does it start? As I said, it starts with a negative expression. What is that? Greenwashing. Greenwashing means someone, a particular company, a particular organization, a particular government projects an image that it is trying to protect the forest, but in reality, it is not doing to that extent. And this is related to on amendments and the Forest Conservation Amendment Bill 2023. How? What is the main idea of this editorial? Changes to conservation laws must be backed by scientific evidence. Now they're trying to change. Amendment means changes. They're trying to change or bring in a few changes related to forest conservation. The editorial opines changes to conservation laws must be backed, means must be supported by scientific evidence, should not be based on someone's whims and fancies, should be backed by scientific evidence. Back means here supported, should be supported by scientific evidence, then it can be justified. How does the actual editorial start? The Forest Conservation Amendment Bill 2023, that is being deliberated upon. That's an important word. Deliberations are on. Deliberated upon means what? To think or talk seriously and carefully about something. Being deliberated upon. Here must be, it is in passive voice. Being deliberated, is being deliberated. This is also passive voice. Here helping verb. Here present continuous tense. What is it in active voice? They are deliberating something. Something is being deliberated by. But sometimes we change the preposition. Deliberated upon, then we use by. By whom? A joint committee of parliament. This deliberation, editorial opines, is a contentious piece of legislation. There is an important word, contentious. Contentious means what? Causing, involving, or likely to cause disagreement and argument. Bone of contention, apple of discord, cause of dispute, you have to recollect. The Forest Conservation Amendment Bill 2023, that is being deliberated upon by a joint committee of parliament. But all these words for more information. The subject, the Forest Conservation Amendment Bill 2023, is a contentious piece of legislation. That is actual idea. A piece of legislation that signals the complex challenges involved in balancing industrial development and the conservation of forests. What is the tussle over here? We always, India is a developing country. Any developing country will talk about economic development. How do we achieve economic development? Based on industrialization, modernization. Industrialization, obviously, inevitable, it results in deforestation. And that is not good for the environment. They have to balance. So, this sentence talks about it. This legislation is a contentious piece and it signals the complex challenges. Challenges are there and they're very complex, involved in balancing. We should always balance two things. One is industrial development or modernization, and the other conservation of forests, preservation of forest, and taking care of the environment. That is very important. While industrialization inevitably, I've just used that word, unavoidable, inevitably means usurping greater tracts of forest land. When we want to go for industrialization, what is inevitable? We cut down many trees, we fell down many trees, and it results in removing a lot of trees, it results in deforestation. So while industrialization inevitably means usurping greater tracts, usurping means what? To take control of a position of power, especially without having the right to. That is a literal meaning. In the context of the editorial, it means occupying the forest without the right and trying to clear the forest for the sake of industrialization. Greater tracts of forest land and ecosystems. The Forest Conservation Act 1980 has been the mantelpiece legislation. That means, in this context, the main legislation that has empowered the state, present perfect, to regulate this and impose costs on such industrial exploitation. What does it mean? If you look at the past one, Act 1980, it gave the power to the state governments, has empowered the state to regulate this means controlling, clearing the forest, and impose costs on such industrial exploitation of forests. Originally meant for notified forests, the initial objective meant for notified forests, a landmark Supreme Court judgment in the Tamil T.N. Godavarman Thirumpalpad case 1996, among other things, broadened the scope of such protection to even those not officially classified so. What does it mean? A lengthy sentence. Initially, the law was only for notified forests, but based on a particular case in 1996, those forests which are not notified, it spread to that also. They came under the purview of this law. Among other things, broadened the scope of such protection to even those not officially classified as notified forest or classified so. India's forest cover, now editorial talks about India's forest cover. India's forest cover has been only marginal increases. Marginal means not substantial. We have been talking about, almost all the countries have been talking about increase in the forest cover, and the same thing goes with India. India's forest cover has seen only marginal increase, not substantial, as biennial reports of the Forest Survey of India illustrate. What is the source to make that statement? Biennial reports of the Forest Survey of India, they illustrate. The growth is only marginal. Growth in forest cover inside officially recorded forests is stagnant. As I said, usually the word stagnant goes with water, stagnant water, no movement. But in this context, no growth, no development. And it goes with the word growth. Growth in forest cover inside officially recorded forests is stagnant or at best incremental, slowly improving, not one time in a series of amounts. It is tree cover in orchards. Orchard means what? A piece of land where fruit trees are grown, but not oranges, not citrus fruits. It is tree cover in orchards, plantations, and village homesteads that has been on the rise and supplementing India's claim that 24% of its area is under forest and tree cover. If at all there is increase and we talk about the percentage of forest and tree cover, certain things are included. What are the things included? One, tree cover based on orchards, based on plantations, based on village homesteads, and based on these, they say 24% of its area is under forest and tree cover. India has committed to increasing. Some students ask me, sir, after two, we have to use a verb in basic form. Here the verb is committed. Committed to what? Here you have to use the verb in ing form used as a noun. Committed to, addicted to, adapted to. Committed to increasing this number to 33% and adding a carbon sink of 2.5 billion to 3 billion tons of carbon dioxide this way by 2030. That talks about a particular goal as part of its international climate commitments. Based on international climate commitments, that's what India has promised. The existing Forest Conservation Act 1980 in the Environment Ministry's reckoning, reckon means to think deeply, was insufficient for these ends. It is not sufficient, insufficient, as it did not incentivize private agroforestry and tree plantation activities. Two things are important when it comes to increasing the tree cover. One is private agroforestry, the other one, very important, tree plantation activities. But if you look at the past act, was insufficient for these ends. Why? It did not incentivize, no incentives when it comes to private agroforestry and no incentives when it comes to tree plantation activities. From 2019 to 2021, India added 1,540 square kilometers of forest cover, of which 1,509 square kilometer was outside recorded forest area. Recorded forest area, outside that, a few square kilometers of forest cover added. The new amendments to the Forest Act gave such incentives by clearly defining the limits of the 1996 judgment. Now the new amendments to the Forest Act gave such incentives by clearly defining the limits of the 1996 judgment. Now they may get the incentives. Only land recorded as forest in any government record on or after 1980 would invoke provisions of the Act. On or after 1980 would invoke means what? To use a law in order to achieve something, provisions of the Act. Before, they cannot. Forest land authorized by states for non-forestry uses between 1980 and 1996 would not invoke provisions of the Act. A specific statement, what would invoke provisions of the Act, what would not invoke provisions of the Act. The amendments effectively mean states can no longer classify unclassified forest land or patches of trees with forest like characteristics as forest land. In the past, the states would do that, but based on this act, now they can no longer classify unclassified forest land or patches of trees with forest like characteristics as forest land. They cannot claim it to be forest land. The amendments also allow forest land up to 100 kilometers near India's borders to be appropriated. Appropriated means used properly, misappropriation to use illegally. 100-kilometer near India's borders without central approval for strategic and security purposes. Why shouldn't they touch those areas? For two reasons. One, strategic and security purposes. Strategic related to defense and security purposes. The primary criticism is that these amendments do not really contribute. Now, why should it start with greenwashing? This part talks about that justification. The primary criticism is that these amendments do not really contribute to regenerating natural forest. When we want to protect the environment, one thing we should not go in for deforestation, another we have to go for afforestation. This sentence says these amendments do not really contribute to regenerating natural forests, but rather incentivize afforestation for commercial ends. They incentivize afforestation for commercial ends, which cannot be justified. What is worrying is that the parliamentary committee, despite its statutory privileges, has not expressed any opinion or suggestion on the way forward. They expected some sort of suggestion from the parliamentary committee because of its statutory. Statutory means what? Based on or controlled by law. Privileges, legal rights in a way. The committee has not expressed any opinion or suggestion on the way forward, how to go about. Grooming private forests, developing private forests might look good in theory, but expecting them to be a permanent carbon stock. When we have forests, carbon dioxide is absorbed. So, permanent carbon stock as a source is wishful thinking, means may not happen, given that strong market incentives exist to use them as carbon credits. They try to use these as carbon credits for commercial purpose. How does the editorial end? While new climate realities might necessitate changes to the way conservation laws are interpreted, these must be backed by a rigorous scientific evidence. The main idea is being reiterated. Whatever amendments, whatever changes they want to bring in, those changes must be backed, supported by a rigorous scientific evidence. Rigorous means extremely thorough and careful. That's all about this editorial. What is the tone of the editorial? The tone of the passage or editorial is critical and skeptical. Overall, the tone suggests a distrust of the amendments and emphasizes the importance of protecting natural forests. That is the prime most important thing, rather than focusing solely on commercial afforestation. There are two things over here. One is protecting natural forests, that is the first choice. Second choice, going in for commercial afforestation. That should be the last choice based on the editorial, the stand taken by the editorial. What are the questions you can think of based on this editorial? How has the Forest Conservation Act 1980 been expanded in terms of forest protection? What has been the trend in India's forest cover according to the Forest Survey of India? These are all not easy questions. You have to spend some time, only then you can answer. What are India's international climate commitments regarding forest and tree cover? Why did the Environment Ministry consider the existing Forest Conservation Act 1980 insufficient? How much forest cover was added in India between 2019 and 2021, and where was most of it located? Nice questions you should answer that will help when it comes to improving reading comprehension skill. Now let us go to practice questions based on exam topics. The first five questions, error location. Read the first one and try to spot the error. When the conditions of the schools improve, a poor family wants to invest time and money in the education of their child. Where is the error? No one has responded. When the conditions of the schools improve, a poor family wants to invest time and money in the education of their child. Question number one, Telugu podcast says second part. There is nothing wrong with the second part. Try again. Read meticulously, you will be able to spot the error. How come no response today? No, want is also not correct. Anusha says third part. Third part. Again, not correct. I'm really surprised. Here we have a poor family. Family is a collective noun. Collective noun. Collective nouns usually take a singular verb and a singular pronoun. Based on that, family wants nothing wrong. Family wants to invest time and money in the education of. Family is considered singular. Then we cannot say their child. We have to say its child. Family, its child. Without any apostrophe. Possessive pronouns never take an apostrophe. Their child is wrong. Its child. And what is this question about? Subject pronoun agreement. That is also an important dimension. Family, its, not their child, its child. Its is a pronoun, subject pronoun agreement. Please go to question number 2. The admissions committee of BU will meet for the coming weeks to finalize the admission schedule and other related issues following the release of CBSE Class 12 exam results. A lengthy sentence, but you should be able to spot the error, not that difficult. Excuse me. No one has answered the second one. Should not take this long. The admissions committee of DU, Varaprasad says the second one. Very good. Here, there is an error in the second part. What is wrong with the second part? The admissions committee of Delhi University will meet for the coming weeks is not correct. In the coming weeks, that's a standard expression. In the coming weeks, in the coming months, in the coming years. So here we have to use a preposition in, not for. This is a question based on prepositional prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrases are very important. When you read the newspapers regularly, you get exposed to a lot of phrases and a lot of prepositional phrases. In the exam, they ask questions based on the same phrases. Do remember. Question number 3. The catchment areas of neighboring Nepal are witnessing heavy rain for the last several days, causing rivers originating from the Himalayan region to overflow. Again, a lengthy sentence, but meticulous reading, you will be able to spot the error. The catchment areas of neighboring Nepal are witnessing heavy rain for the last several days, causing rivers originating from the Himalayan region to overflow. Where is the error? No one has answered. No, not were is not the right word. Whenever you come across a sentence, you have to look at the time phrases. The clue for you for the last several days, for the past several days, means something has been going on from the past to the present, may go into future. Based on that, we have to use present perfect continuous tense, not present continuous. Here it is in present continuous, not correct. We have to use present perfect continuous. Based on that, have been, the catchment areas have been witnessing of neighboring Nepal, put in brackets, that's a phrase. The catchment areas have been witnessing heavy rain for the last several days. Present perfect continuous. As simple as that. Question number 4. We had made every effort to ensure that a compromise is reached and that deal was signed. That deal was signed. We had made, excuse me, we had made every effort to ensure that a compromise is reached and that deal was signed. Third part, what is wrong with third part? Varaprasad, you're right, third part, but what is wrong? Here we had made first action past perfect and every effort to ensure that a compromise is reached and that deal was signed. The whole context goes into the past context. When you read the sentence, you have to understand it goes into the past. Then you cannot use the verb in the present. Based on that, a compromise was reached, not is reached, was reached. I think a few students have got it right. India's travel and tourism industry is poised on growth at 7% this year alone. India's travel and tourism industry is poised on growth at 7% this year alone. This is again based on your exposure to the language, contextual awareness. Only then you can answer. India's travel and tourism industry is poised on growth. No, poised to grow. Poised to grow at 7% this year alone. Poised, you have to use a preposition to, not growth, grow. Poised to grow. That's a standard expression. At 7% also you can use. Nothing wrong with at 7%. There is an error in the second part. Poised to grow at 7% this year alone. Now you have not para jumble, Cloze Test from an international magazine. You have 6 blanks, 6 words, and important words. That's why I have brought. Please read carefully and try to choose appropriate words and mention the number. These are all blanks 1, 2, 3, 4. First blank, which word? Second blank, which word? Poised to grow, exactly, Madhav. That is a standard expression. In deep blue waters off the coast of Guyana, ships are sucking oil from reservoirs. What is the first word to be used? No one has responded. Perhaps a bit difficult. 1, 4, very good. Perfect. First one, this is an important word. Gargantuan means what? Huge. An important word. Ships are sucking oil from reservoirs 3 kilometers below the surface. These machines are transforming, changing what? First one, 4, perfect, very good, I appreciate. A lot of students have got it right. Please go to the second blank. What is the right word? Second one, first word, very good, perfect. It is fortunes. Changing, transforming or changing the fortunes of one of South America's smallest and poorest countries. In 2015, ExxonMobil, an American oil giant, found the first of what are now around 11 billion barrels of proven crude oil reserves, or around 0.6% of world's total. Production began 3 years ago and is now picking up. Picking up what? Is now, it started way back in 3 years ago and picking up pace. Very good. Picking up pace. Pace means what? Speed. By 2027, it could reach more than 1 million barrels a day, a rate that today would make Guyana one of the top 20 oil producers in the world. This is a stunning what? Fourth one. Very good. Here, stunning manasa, stunning bonanza, that is the right word. Second option. What is option number? Second word. Stunning bonanza, a gift, a great fortune. Stunning bonanza for a country of only 8 lakh. After that, easy. 8 lakh. What is the word? This is a stunning bonanza for a country of only 8 lakh inhabitants. Very good. Again, who is this? Sai Kumar. 8 lakh inhabitants. Foreign politicians no longer, what are you left with? No longer struggle to find it on the map. Now everyone knows about that country. All these words are very important. Inhabitants, original native people. You should also think of words like indigenous people, original inhabitants, aboriginals, native people. All these words are very important. You have to recollect. We have 5 idioms. Some of these are very important, somewhat easy to comprehend. That is good. If you feel it is easy from an international magazine, you should be happy. But here you are not under pressure. Do remember, under pressure, you may find the same paragraph or a short passage quite challenging. Indigenous people, native people, aboriginals, yes, original inhabitants, toe to toe. What does it mean? Excuse me. Toe to toe. First one is Naresh is the first one to respond. Got it right. E. Toe to toe means a direct conflict between two people or groups, possible in close quarters. Very close quarters only we say toe to toe. On your toes. Before the exam, you should be on your toes. I usually tell students, you should be on your toes while doing something very important. Second one, not D. On your toes means to continue directing all the attention and energy. C is the answer. You should be on your toes means you have to direct all the attention and energy towards something. Put your foot down. For that, it is D. Deal with someone in a strict way. Answer is D. To get cold feet, to have cold feet. Before a presentation, you feel shy, anxious, and you try to do it reluctantly because of that fear. What is the answer? To experience reluctance or fear. More than reluctance, to become anxious before the presentation, then you have to say, I got cold feet before the presentation. Drag your feet. Easy to make out. Answer is A. Do something very reluctantly or delay doing something. Don't drag your feet, we say. Has anyone got all the 5 correct? Then you should be happy. These are the words you got from yesterday. Yes, yesterday. Yesterday's editorial. Try to recollect and consolidate. Some of these words are very important. Grassroots. Grassroot also you can say. Grassroot development, singular, adjective. Grassroots could be noun. Grassroots means what? All the five correct, Tripura Sundari. Very good. What about error location today? Error location, I don't think so. Has anyone got all the five correct error location? Ground level. People at the lowest level or the ground level. Manasa also, all the five correct. Very good. But what about error location? Grassroots, yes. Ground level, at the lowest rung. Second one, numb means no physical sense. No sense, meaning may change. No physical. Physical is the word. Four is pretty good, Anusha. That is good. Numb, no sensation. When it comes to your body parts, one meaning. Another meaning, because of some shocking incident, you cannot think. Then also you can say, I became numb when I heard the shocking news. Grassroots, fundamental, basic, at the lowest, ordinary people of a society, yes, they're always at the lowest rung. Tripura Sundari, 3 out of 5, that is also good enough, uh, should be happy. A run up to an important expression. What does it mean? Final important period of time before an important event. The time period before an important event. We use that term run up to the presidential elections, run up to the local elections, run up to the panchayat elections. Important period before an event occurs. Perfect. Apprehension. Before the exam, don't entertain any apprehensions. While preparing for competitive exams, don't entertain any apprehensions. Apprehension means what? Worrying about future. A feeling that something may go wrong. Don't entertain. From 14th onwards, CGL prelims going to start. Why all of a sudden, Ganesh? That news. Mar, it's a regular verb. Marred means what? Known as a spoil. That's right. Spoil something. Mar a particular function, a particular activity, spoil the activity. Deploy, easy to answer. Deploy the police, deploy the forces, central forces, deploy the army, deploy the soldiers, combinations. Deploy means what? Place in position. You can say place in position so that they can deal with any eventuality. This is an important word. Move troops or equipment to a particular place. Exactly, literal meaning. This you got to be careful. Requisition is not a noun, it is a verb. Means what? Deploying forces, yes. Requisition. There was a requisition from the state. Mar, as a noun, I doubt who is this Sanjay Rani. As a noun, I doubt. Mar is a regular verb. We use as a verb. An official request. Perfect. Shravani. Tips for the exam, you mean? Ganesh. I got it. I will give you. Let us complete this list. I will spend a few minutes. Haphazard. Part of speech. No one has written the parts of speech. Haphazard manner means adjective. Not in a proper order, not planned. Zigzag manner, yes. Concede. Concede, conceded, conceded. It's a verb. What does it mean? Concede means to accept defeat or failure reluctantly, unorganized manner, pacifist, right. At random, you can say that also. Wanting, wanting means what? It has a negative connotation. Wanting means lacking, lack something, L A C K, lacking, not hiding, lacking. Conceal means hide. Here, concede, both are different. Lacking, that's right. Scarce resources means what? Word number 11. Inadequate, that's right. Scarce resources, inadequate resources. Debilitating, an important word. Debilitate, debilitating. Make someone weak. Dearth, lack, very good. Chaos, part of speech, noun. Confusing state, a state of confusion. Inadequate, insufficient, lack, all these words can be used. Debilitating and important, someone, something that makes you weak. You can also use unsettling, disturbing, weak, tenuous, chaos, confusion, mayhem, a good word, confusion. And what is the last one? Wake up call. Wake up call means what? Something that makes you realize or see the actual picture. We can also use the expression eye opener. These are all important words. Now, coming to tips, who asked Ganesh, SSC CGL Tier 1, rather easy, but you have to think of three aspects. One, grammar, second, vocab, third, RCS. And Tier 1, as I said, easy, but my tips, my suggestions, you brush up the basics of English grammar and be thorough with the 200 rules so that you can answer any question based on rules. And brush up your vocabulary. You must have learned a lot of words. Go through all those words, not all the words, important words and difficult words. Before exam, you don't have a lot of time. See, when you learn words, what happens? You come across easy words, you come across new and difficult words. When you revise, you don't have to revise all the words. You don't have to revise the easy words. You have to revise the difficult words. That is being smart. Coming to the third one, reading comprehension skill. That let us see, Anusha, give me some time. Reading comprehension skill easy when it comes to SSC, but still you have to, before the exam, try to read a few passages, a few close tests, a few scrambled sentences from the previous year's papers every day for half an hour. Then your mind gets fine tuned to reading a particular passage. For 1 week, you read every day for 30 minutes or 60 minutes. Try to read one short passage, one close test, one scrambled sentence, parajumble, no, scrambled sentence. And every day you do it religiously. And on the day of the exam, you don't get stressed out. You feel like reading and you can answer comfortably. These are my tips. Are you there, Ganesh? You wanted the tips? These are the tips. Brush up the basics of grammar and make sure all the 200 grammar rules are at your fingertips and go through all the important and difficult words and also spend time on roots, prefixes, suffixes. Offline batch, I don't. And reading comprehension skill, do remember Try to spend an hour every day. One passage, one cloze test, one jumble, not jumble, scrambled sentence from SSC previous year's papers. Do remember, don't go for banks, only SSC. That will, you will get conditioned, and in the exam, you will be able to answer. Thank you very much. Thank you, Manasa. Good night to all of you. Thanks for being with me till the fag end of the session. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much. Do remember to subscribe and share.